There has been so many good games coming out this year. This is probably one of the best years for gaming we've ever had, with so many future classics dropping left and right, and still have had to have the same brain-numbing conversation that gaming is dying. If you genuinely believe that, it's got everything to do with you, and maybe you just need to find a new hobby. All the times I hear this argument is from the Call of Duty players.
I'm not gonna lie, bruh.
Call of Duty.
Bitches need to shut up, bruh. I'm not gonna, like, in all respect and all honesty, like, not gonna lie, it be a lot of the
Call of Duty
hoes talking. You
Call of Duty.
bitches need to shut the fuck up.
Historic year, Tears of the Kingdom, fire. I've already said enough about it. A game that's gonna influence gaming as a whole for sure. And we've got another industry-altering game with Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate is the absolute peak of what I want from a gaming experience. Never has a game been exactly what I want. There is no game that exists that is closer to my ideal game than Baldur's Gate 3. Story-driven, choices matter, and they're impactful choices that feel like they affect a living, breathing world instead of just having an effect on one or two static story beats. So much variability and replayability is through the roof. Really good, balanced, stable, intuitive combat all wrapped together in a neat package that's coded well with minimal bugs. EA, Blizzard, and Activision could never. There's just hella quality coming out and not enough time to play it. Armored Core just came out, and man,
Now's your chance, man. I've taken your calls.
Starfield is hype. People have been buzzing about it. We got Spider-Man to look forward to. New Mario looks fire, and that direct showed a lot of promising features. A breath of fresh air for the 2D Mario series. I'm not gonna lie, even the new Call of Duty looks fire. Might buy just to play the campaign. So amidst all of this great news, I think we got some hating to do, because there's a bit too much positivity and we need balance. We already got the two most likely Game of the Year contenders, but it'd be boring to talk about the worst games like the Golem game because everyone can agree on that. Let's talk about the mid of the year, the games that were hyped up like crazy that just didn't live up to the hype it received. And I know the year hasn't ended yet, but I don't think there are any hyped games that will be as disappointing as what we've gotten so far. Fingers crossed. There are only two games that I think were hyped enough to be worthy of winning the award of mid. And the first of those two is for all the drama that was surrounding this game, it was not worth it at all. There were some people being harassed mercilessly just because they played the game due to controversy surrounding the game for a 5 out of 10 experience. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, so in theory I should love this game. Behind the fan service though, it's one of the most empty games I've ever played. Nothing to hate about it, not much to particularly like about it. Just a time filler.
This murderer of my free time.
It is with a heavy heart that I report the PS5 is the single worst purchase I've ever made in my 19 years of living. If you have a decent PC, ain't no reason to get either of the consoles this generation because they have nothing to offer. And I thought Final Fantasy would fill that void. I was wrong. There are some amazing things about this game. The voice acting is some of the best I've ever seen. There's not a single character that I think falls flat in terms of voice acting. Even random Farmer John in the corner of the map has great vocals. Also, the combat in this game is some of the most fun I've had with the combat system in a while. I have heard though that it's just Devil May Cry 5 combat and I haven't played that. And then the boss fights are so incredibly amazing, cinematic masterpieces. But when it comes to a game like this, a long narrative epic, you're there for the story. It doesn't matter how good the gameplay is, the story is what matters. And this story starts phenomenally. There's just no other way to describe it. This is probably the single best introduction to any game I've ever played. I've never gone into a game wanting to hate it and come out being so obsessed with it I'm skipping meals just to play. However, the writers were just content on riding the hype they generated from the first few hours of the gameplay and hoped it would last until the end of the game. Up until about the 20 to 25 hour mark, the story was really solid and engaging, but for the most part it was reliant on that tension and mystery established within the first 2 to 3 hours. And it became clear after a while that they weren't interested in giving you any satisfying payoff or progressing the story. Their goal became to pad and inflate your playtime. The story just fell off a cliff. Narrative is all over the place, the story structure makes no sense, all urgency fades away, and the story kind of just fizzles out. I went from Final Fantasy 16 being all I thought about, thirsty to see how the story progressed, to being indifferent to seeing how the story ended. And I still don't know. I probably never will know, and I'm fine with that. This game couldn't live up to the precedent that it set itself in the first few hours of gameplay. The game just gets boring and stale. Doesn't matter how good the combat is or how good the voice acting is, I'm not gonna just do endless combat to continue a story I'm not interested in. The hype that Final Fantasy 16 got was insane, and out of all the games that came out this year, this is the most disappointing because it wasn't like it survived off the hype of pre-release and disappointed with the final product like Redfall and Dead Island 2. It was hype for me because of the game itself, not the energy surrounding it. I talked to some people that said I'd probably like it more if there weren't as many undeniable bangers this year, but even if there weren't genre-defining games coming out, I'd still feel the same, because I've had time to think and marinate on this opinion. I played it on launch, which was in June, and we're going into September. It's just a sad truth about a game that I went into really wanting to enjoy. Like the video if you enjoyed, leave a comment below. Also comment if there's a game that should have gone here that wasn't mentioned. I mean, it's kind of hard to compete with these entries though, especially Hogwarts Legacy. Like, be for real. Don't forget to kiss the homies goodnight, take it easy, and as usual, have a good one.